Hello, and welcome to Improve Your Marketing, Tactics to Acquire, Nurture, Grow, and Retain Customers. My name is Spencer Altman from MAP. I'm presenting, discussing with you from our office here in Berlin, Germany, and it's a pleasure to have you here. Thank you very much for attending. Yeah, today we're going to be I'm going to be introducing to you Improve Your Marketing. Improve Your Marketing is a new online community specifically tailored for digital marketers. It's a platform community made by digital marketers and for digital marketers. And the real purpose of it actually is to basically help digital marketers to help us do our jobs better. And it's doing that with tactics to acquire, nurture, grow, and retain customers. I'm going to explain just a bit of concept of why tactics are then relevant, and then we're going to take a look. Basically, we present the platform to you, some of the features, and then give you a live demo of Improve Your Marketing here at the end then of our presentation and time together. So, why are tactics in particular then relevant, and why then a community based then and focusing really then on tactics? So let's take then an analogy of, say, marketing and sports. There's various similarities between marketing and sports. To pick out three very quite specific ones: metrics, data, and tactics. So metrics, something that's in common between marketing and sports. And if we ask ourselves the questions, as a digital marketer, are our metrics really then aligned with our goals, with our actually then true goals, what we're trying to achieve? Digital marketing, there's a ton of metrics there. There's a lot of standard metrics, particularly when we're just starting out with a new platform, or just starting out actually then with a new team, a new type of exercise. We then start out usually then with basic metrics, and we use standard KPIs. So if you're then talking about social media, you use then followers, email, you use sends, open rates, clicks, click-through rate, and then conversion rate, basket size, and you have lots of standard metrics. We then have to ask ourselves as digital marketers, if we're just using standard metrics across all of our segments, across our entire data set, are we really going to be able to meet our goals with just using these, say, simple schemes? Similarly, if we think then about sports, it's like very similar to saying, okay, do we actually have a healthy lifestyle if all we really focus on is then our weight? If weight were really the main metric, the main KPI, there's lots of ways to keep then the weight down. Don't eat too well, don't eat too much, smoke, and don't do too much exercise so you don't gain too much muscle. Those are all ways to keep your weight down, but do they really actually then lead to a healthy lifestyle? Maybe in a certain aspect, of course, watching what you eat, but to actually then judge, do you have a healthy lifestyle? You need to actually use then, say, a more elaborate scheme of metrics to be able to come to that conclusion. Is this a healthy lifestyle? And then when you think of sports and metrics, weight is one thing in your basic daily health, but then you think of organizations. So team sports, professional sports, the metrics that they're going to be looking at could be a lot more complex, elaborate schemes. You think then about football, you're not just going to have number of goals scored, number of goals against, but you'll have metrics such as time of possession, amount of passes, amount of successful passes, amount of corner kicks, amount of fouls, amount of free kicks. Possession, you'll have, where was the possession? Was it in the other side's half? Was it in your half? Was it in the final few meters? Lots and lots of metrics. Higher performing organizations have more complex, elaborate schemes of metrics. Same thing in digital marketing. Digital marketing, we can take these simple metrics and we actually then have more elaborate schemes broken out per different customer segments for different channels. And this is just sort of an overview of digital marketing for high performance marketing organizations when it comes to metrics of, say, how detailed, how elaborate. It's hopefully not too complex. That's why I'm using elaborate, but basically much more refined and specific sets of metric schemes that we use to be able to judge, are we being successful? Exactly where are we successful? how successful are we, and exactly where are we not successful? Where are we absolutely failing? Where are we basically open for improvement, but not doing awfully, and we can just get better? When you then break down marketing activities into such a scheme, you come to using metrics such as, repeat visits, trying to increase engagement, whether engagement is then clicks, time on site, number of return visits. You have different metrics that are supporting different types of goals, different types of interactions. So when it comes to content marketing, such as being able to just stimulate and entertain during a nurture phase, you may have different sets of metrics that match that. And here we're just looking at an example, right? This is just say one branch, say down the tree of an overall marketing scheme for an elaborate, high-performing marketing organization, where you'll have different goals. Those goals for certain segments, certain personas in different parts of their life cycle can be then met via different channels. This is just email, and then with different activities, different tactics, and you have different metrics to actually measure those items and those successes. So metrics then are very key, and high performing companies then have more elaborate schemes. Extremely similar then when it comes to tactics. The tactics that are then used support the goals, and to achieve the goals, you need to have tactics in place, and they need to be tactics that are appropriate, that fit for those goals, that will support those goals. Same in sports as it is then in digital marketing. Just to take then a short story to explain sort of on the sports aspect. A few years ago, I did then a marathon. For a marathon, there were then various things that I had to then do to put in place. My goal was to run my first marathon, and I set a time goal for myself as well. I then looked at basically different plans. What are the tactics that I need to do? At the time, I had been running about 5 kilometers to 7 kilometers about 3 times a week, and then the other days I've been doing other types of training, and I had 3 months to go. So there are various tactics that I had to do. Got a new pair of shoes, got it early so that I didn't get blisters by having a new pair of shoes directly before the race day. I then trained on certain days. The 3 days a week were then planned out, how much I would run per day, when the rest days were, when the recuperation days with other types of exercise, stretching or bike, had those tactics all put into place. Even then, sort of cross-departmental. At the time, I was actually then on site, so I wasn't traveling then that time. It was a 6-hour flight, so I didn't then go home for those 3 months, so that I could actually then keep to my training routine. So, and I watched then much more than what I eat, and lots of different tactics went into place. Come the race day, first 35 kilometers, awesome, doing fantastically, everything is going well. Come 35 kilometers, start to then get cramps, have to actually, having very difficult time actually finishing up the race, a bit of walking, a bit of running, a bit of walking, a bit of running, eventually finish the race. So what had basically happened? There were a couple of tactics that I did not successfully put in place. During my training, I had not, because I was training basically by myself and I was running long distances, I did not want to take anything with me. So I did not take any water, I did not take any food on the race day because I knew it was going to be longer and I wanted to perform better. So I thought, you know what, I will then during the race have a little water, have a banana after whatever that was, a few kilometers, 15, 20 kilometers, and that having my body not used to it because I did not use those tactics in the training. I then had the issue then with the cramps and finishing up then at the end of the race. So everything ended up being just fine, but the tactics and the goal need to then be aligned. That's just on a simple, modest goal of a single person with a marathon. When it comes to the tactics in sports, when it comes to any sport, basketball, football, even in personal sports, tennis, even things like dancing, lots of training, lots of tactics, hours per week, day in, day out. Tactics are key. The higher performing the person, the organization, the more critical the tactics are. Same goes for digital marketing. The tactics are absolutely critical. And this is then one of the driving things behind the new community that we're just now launching with MAP, which is improve your marketing. Towards the end of the spring this year, beginning of the summer, we launched a digital marketing playbook, 100 tactics to acquire, nurture, grow, and retain customers. These were all tactics, very specific items of basically specific things that can be done, each with the expectation of a high ROI and a directly measurable ROI. Real target is to put into marketers' hands direct things that they can then discuss with their teams, put into place with their teams, discuss with their agency, put into place within a matter of minutes, couple hours, short projects, but to have then a lot of success with them very, very quickly, and to be extremely concrete, all focused on the goal, ROI, but across then a wide spectrum of digital marketing activities, and to basically create a place for digital marketers to be able to get this value and interact, learn, share with each other to get these ideas flowing to basically help them do their jobs better. We had split up these tactics into 4 key lifecycle stages. The stages say the different areas of goals, targets, areas of ROI, starting out with parts of then a funnel, yeah, marketing funnel almost, yeah. On the acquire stage, the nurture stage, so when the customers don't necessarily have a particular, purchase project, say, that's in mind, or whatever would lead to a conversion for the types of services, products, offerings that you have, and the customers just need to be nurtured, engaged with your offer, however that then means, for whatever product, whatever services that you then happen to be offering. For the grow stage, when there's then the indications that there's an actual potential conversion to actually then get additional revenue per segment, per group, per customer, as well as then the retain. These different phases, yeah, different companies may then have different names for them, different marketing teams may have different names for them, and each one then there's certain tactics that may work quite well. Yeah, for acquire, things like being able to acquire new users into your, basically your known customer database, so getting into your newsletter subscription list so that you can communicate with them at a much lower cost per communication than you can then in other channels once you actually know who they are. Working then with lookalikes. Hey, these customers, they seem to perform well when they come from this particular channel. How can I get more customers like that? There's lots of different tactics that are out there. They can be used for one phase. You can also use a single tactic, use it then in different phases. Yeah, there's no reason why lookalikes, yeah, you can't use them for acquire and also then for a grow stage as well. And we basically broke out all of these tactics into these different stages, and we then put them into an interactive platform community, which I'll then start to actually walk through and show you some of the features of the community, and we'll go through a little demo as well of it. So we split them up into acquire, nurture, grow, retain. Types of tactics that are there, say a welcome tactic. Welcome tactics such as creating just a new newsletter and actually then a new onboarding, say, workflow for new customers to basically say, hey, welcome to our platform. Here's who we are. And then depending on really what business you're in, what, say, product or service that a customer then signed up for, is just a way to basically get them engaged, get them excited then about your offering, your brand at the very beginning of the official relationship, once they've actually agreed to sign up for your newsletter and say, hey, I would like to actively and regularly hear more from you. Other ideas, single tactics, yeah, digital receipts, paperless receipts, yeah. Another way to work with customers in the acquire stage, instead of having entirely in-store anonymous transactions, customer comes in, purchases something, then goes, then leaves the space, then leaves the store, doesn't necessarily go into a CRM. With the offering of a paperless receipt, there's the option to basically collect the customers in email. They get the benefit of not using paper, They also then have a receipt, because some products, they may not really want the paper, but they actually do want to have the receipt, because if they do happen to want to return it, they can only do that then with the receipt. So they do want it. Email, it's easier for them to organize. Could be doing them a favor. You then have the email address. You can ask them as well if they would like to use that for only the transactional purpose at that moment, or if they would also like to hear more about your product and services in the future. So it's another opportunity. It's a single, in that sense, simple tactic. A couple things to do to put it in place, but it's a single tactic that can be used to acquire new customers. And we've created then lots of these different tactics, over 100 actually then in the platform. And you can actually then take a look at these as a marketer and see which ones then work for you in the different stages. Other benefits then for marketers in the platform is that per each tactic, can actually then explore additional tips from the community of experts. Community of experts, who is that? That is actually then you guys as the experts in the community. In the platform, Improve Your Marketing, you can also add your own tips and multiple tips, and then users can actually then basically add on the different tips, and you can also start to collect then the tips. You can basically create kind of your own game plan of, okay, what are the things that we would actually like to do? Whether you think, okay, going into now Q4, holiday season is then coming up. You may have things that you wanted to start discussing with your team. So you can basically hit the heart and save off, bookmark, create just a bit of a list for yourself of the things that you would like to discuss with your team, discuss also with your agency. So you can set up the heart. You could also then interact in the community and ask the community for basically helps and tips with this particular tactic. So get the more specifics, because some of the tactics that are a bit generic, such as a welcome newsletter, or here, how to deal with an oops situation when the customer lands on a page, product, maybe that's not in stock, but there's very specific things to your business and to different lines of products and services in your business that have very specific quality, even probably data needs that need to then be handled, maybe even technical things about how to implement something, what cases should be considered. You can basically take a look at the expert tips and then ask directly in the Q&A section, just ask the community for a bit of help. Hey, how would I then do this? As I mentioned then, with the little heart, the bookmark, you can basically then collect and create your own plan, and then you can quickly then prioritize the tactics based on your business needs from top to bottom, set up then into different groups, the high priority, the medium priorities, the lows, and we've then assigned sort of a basic then default for each one of just the estimate of which are the ones that have a low effort to get them implemented, which are the ones that have a bit of then a higher effort, and also then the expected value of each of them, and the amount of expected, say, investment. So, an idea then of the technical investment to actually make something happen, or is it really just then a, sort of a service offering that just you need a couple of hours just to put something into place, and you have then those indications there to help you understand what tactics you would like to focus on, as well as really what you expect to get out of them. And as I mentioned, you put together the plan. It's not just then for yourself, but the plan can actually then be shared with your teammates. So with your direct teammates, can be also shared with your agency, such as, hey, we're getting ready for our Q4 activities, specifically then for the holidays. Let's go through all this then on Monday and figure out what are the things that we can actually start to put in place now for the middle of October? What are the things that we can really put in place for Black Friday, for Singles Day? Yeah, and you can actually then email this, basically just copy paste the link, and users, without even having to register, will be able to call up the link and be able to take a look at the tactics. Then you can just walk through and say what you actually then want to put in place together, prioritize and plan together. For the community, there's a place to basically get tactics. There's also a place to add to the community. So you can add then your questions, you can add then your specific tips, but you can also actually then actively contribute by creating then your own tactics and you can actually then create, so for agencies out there, you can actually then create your own little space within the Improve Your Marketing community. You get a contributor page, which allows you to then promote your own expertise via your services that you then display, as well as then the tactics and the contributions that you directly make in terms of tactics, as well as answering then the community's questions. You can create your own tactics you can make available to the community. You can also make tactics that are available only to your team so that they don't have to be shared publicly with the entire community. And any new tactic that's created will also then be available, will then also be made available with the indication then for who did it in terms of the person, and then direct link to company profile page on Improve Your Marketing. And a company profile page, you then have the ability to, little place to show profile, who your company is, what the exact specialities of your company's services are, and then also a place for a call to action, then a link can go to your LinkedIn page, home page, or a specific, say, action that you're doing, whether it's then a show that's coming up, a specific white paper webinar coming up, that you can link to that, as well as show directly then the specific tactics that you've actually then contributed to the community as well. Community is available at improve your marketing, and let's actually now take a look directly at it. So as I mentioned, with the platform, there's over 100 tactics in here. I think now there's then well over 100 because the community was then launched in beta phase then a few weeks ago and is now live for you to join yourself at improveyour.marketing. And for each tactic, there's an outline of the description, the value, as well as then the expert tips, and you can then create your own tip. Here's where you can actually then remove something then from your own tactics, add it to your tactics if you think it's something that you want to save for later for yourself, or if it is something you would like to then share with your team, then you can place the heart to bookmark it. Types of tactics that we have in there. Mentioned digital receipts, other things such as data capture overlay, catching users when you don't actually then have a very deep relationship with them yet, when they're relatively new. As they're then going, you can basically set a newsletter offer overlay and say, hey, before you go, would you like to sign up for our newsletter? This allows the user, the potential customer, to stay in touch with your brand, benefit from your services. And there's lots of different things when you have questions, such as how exactly should we implement this? You can look at the expert tips, ask your own Q&A, because it's not so simple as just saying every time a user leaves your website that they then get a banner for a newsletter. Certain things need to be considered, such as, is the customer already signed up for the newsletter? If so, probably don't want to then bother them with an overlay that says sign up for our newsletter. Also, for the ones that are not signed up for the newsletter, may not want to disturb them after just one page visit. Do they really maybe have the engagement you think that they would be interested in the newsletter, or do you only have it show after they've been on the website for at least 2 minutes, or only after they've visited at least 3 pages, or only 5 pages? Or do you not show it on, say, the 3rd or 4th visit then of a user? Or maybe for your business, you only show it after, say, the 3rd visit. All of these different things you can then consider when implementing such a tactic. The tactics we have here are basically the 100 basically lights of impulse, lights of inspiration as to specific tactics that you can do. And then the details for your business, your service offering is really, what we have it out there for you to discuss and basically create yourself with the community. Mentioned also the ability to create your own tactics. You can create your own tactics to be shared with the community, also to be shared only with your team. When you create your own tactic, you can indicate which area you really think it's inappropriate to, and say the quasi-goal, the quasi-funnel area. Indicate what type of, say, channel or what type of tactic is it. Give your tactic a name, give an indication of how much effort it is, how much investment, is it something that's really expensive to put in, and really what's the sort of expected value. Set up your description to explain it, explain what the value of it is. You can upload then your own images, and then you can decide if something should be shared publicly with the community, with everyone, or something that should not be shared with everyone. For the contributors, we have the contributor page. So there's a number of contributors so far. Each one been indicating then different experts' tips, as well as creating then their own tactics. And on each page, each contributor page, you get an idea then of the services that are offered, as well as then specifically which tactics each of them have actually then been contributing. And you can actually then see other things will be coming up are top tactics. As you notice, each of the actual tactics themselves has an indication of how many times that they've been liked, and also an indication of how many tips, how many questions are actually then on each individual tactic. Click on the upper right-hand corner, you go to the plan. Everything that I've set a heart on, everything that I've then bookmarked is then available in my plan. Can set then the priority of all of them. I then basically see then the overview of all my tactics set into the high, medium, and low. And then at the bottom of the screen, there's then a link that I can then just copy and paste, and then send this out to my team, send this out to my agency, so that I can then discuss it with them and basically get straight into the planning of what we want to do to improve our marketing, basically later on today or tomorrow, so we can actually then get to work. That's it. Those are the basics. We're quite excited here at MAP to be able to launch this community. We got a lot of people using it already. We're looking forward to you using it as well. You can reach it at improveyour.marketing. Sign up yourself, take a look, and also if you would like to start becoming more involved, create your own tactics, create your own, and also start adding your own tips, and really, exchange then with each other. I see the time is getting short. Maybe take then the last bit before asking, see if there's any questions, is to actually take a notice. We mentioned then, going back to the analogy, marketing and sports. We talked then about metrics, data, and tactics. This community is there for you for tactics, and when it comes to data and metrics, in just 6 minutes time, actually, we have another master class with MAP for those German speakers then out there. This one's going to be then about KI, so it's going to be about AI and artificial intelligence, and you can then see that. You can then see that actually then in 5 minutes, then with our head of data science and data science team, Norman Vanshoff and Marcus Shaw. Thank you very much. And I wish you guys a enjoyable rest of the DMEXCO.